Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDN Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications.
Stakeholders and community leaders from across the oil-rich Niger Delta region are calling on the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) to prioritize the completion of abandoned projects across the region as the NDDC prepares its budget for the 2025 fiscal year. The stakeholders and community leaders made the appeal at the just concluded NDDC 2025 Budget Conference and Partners for Sustainable Development Forum last week in Port Harcourt, the capital of Rivers State. According to them, completing abandoned projects will not only improve the living conditions of the people, but will also drive sustainable development across the region.
As part of the Commission's budget conception process for the 2025 fiscal year, the intervention agency last week brought together traditional leaders, representatives of the 9 states in the region, and civil society groups and organizations in Port Harcourt for a 2-day conference. The goal was for stakeholders to aggregate and incorporate the needs and yearnings of the people and to make input into the plans, policies, and projects of the Commission in the upcoming year.
The strategic goals and objectives set out for the implementation of this budget is centered on delivery of legacy projects and programs through the instrumentality of public-private partnership and other robust engagement with developmental partners.
The first time the Commission held this engagement was in 2008, when they invited state representatives from the 9 member states to build a synergy with the NDDC towards streamlining their 2028 budget for optimum delivery of development initiatives. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the NDDC, Dr. Samuel Ogbuku, in his address said that they have sustained this tradition because the Commission intends to serve the people and address their peculiar problems across their communities.
We initiated this PSD, but before we're gathering here today, we had to set up budget committees where we had to ensure that the state government was also involved. The IOCs were also involved to ensure that most of these projects that are going to be in the budget are projects that are being conceived by stakeholders.
Dr. Obuku, who reflected on some of the challenges that bedeviled the intervention agency in time past, gave the assurance that the new board and management is working to chart a new course going forward.
When you talk about 7th governing board, that means for the life of NDDC, you're supposed to have 7 managing directors. But you imagine, from 2015 till date, I'm the number 9 MD of NDDC. That is to tell you the level of instability in NDDC.
For his part, the chairman of the NDDC governing board, Mr. Chiedu Ebie, called on stakeholders from the region to continue to support the leadership of the Commission, even as it works round the clock to bring the dividends of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu across underdeveloped communities in the region.
We appeal to everyone to please work with us. Please support us. Today, there are probably about 5 litigations or 5 court cases in court, either trying to take out the MD or to take out the chairman by saying that we're not competent or capable to occupy those positions. And that's just for selfish reasons. If we have stability, you can see that there's sincerity of purpose in this board.
In her keynote address, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Regional Development, Dr. Mary Ogbe, hailed the Commission for its commitment to people-centered budget approach, which she said is crucial for sustainable development.
I charge the management of NDDC to also have this kind of stakeholders engagement where the stakeholders, the real stakeholders will be present to make inputs themselves, not just their representatives. And I'm talking about the rural communities where over 50% of our people live and are in dire need of basic life amenities.
Other dignitaries and participants at the conference include the chairman of the Senate Committee on NDDC, Senator Asuko Ekpenyong, the national chairman of Traditional Rulers of Oil Mineral Producing Communities of Nigeria, His Royal Majesty Major General Felix Mujakperu, and the Secretary to the Government of Bayelsa State, Professor Nimibofa Ayawe.
Addressing the challenges inherent in the region requires coordinated efforts to ensure that the NDDC remains an effective interventionist agency.
I want to sincerely thank the MD for his vision. You see, when people go into position, if you don't have a plan, before you go to that position, you will fail. That is why most governors, ministers have failed.
The meeting featured a technical session where representatives from each of the 9 states in the separate groups deliberated on the proposed budget itemized for their respective states. At the end of the day, they arrived at an 8-point resolution, tops among which is the consensus that the Commission should focus on completion of critical abandoned projects rather than initiating new ones.
Inside the Niger Delta,